Hello, this is Fachstelle Interkulturelle Öffnung, a specialist department for intercultural awareness, with our program Im Gespräch mit Corona worldwide, to talk about how people experience the Corona situation in different regions and countries. Today we are in Birmingham, Great Britain, and welcome Janet.
Welcome.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Maria. My name's Janet Milcreast. I work for a Citizens Advice Bureau here in the West Midlands. I'm a trainer. I go out and help people with financial capability things, all about sort of budgeting and banking and making the most of your money, talking about money, thinking about money. But that's just a little part of my life. My passion and my main part of the job is I'm a grandma and have 6 grandchildren. I'm very proud of that.
Wow. So first question, how are you and how did you experience the last weeks?
Well, we're fortunately all very well, very healthy. The virus hasn't touched ourselves or our families, so that's all good news. I think we found it as a family easier to deal with everything as time goes on. I think that initial shutdown where everything was shut down, where we could only go out for an hour a day, we all found very different and very difficult. You're not being able to see family, not being able to go out and socialise with friends, which is what we do every weekend, and suddenly, right, that's it. You're inside and you're out once a day for 1 hour. We found very, very difficult. We weren't allowed to go out in our cars, only for essential things, which I think is the same as in most of Europe. That was very hard. We all found that very difficult to start with.
Yeah. Which official rules do you have right now concerning the virus in Birmingham?
Yeah, we're allowed to go out, meet with a few other people now, only in the garden though now. So I think we're allowed to go out more. Some of the shops have started to open, the car showrooms, some of the National Trust properties, gardens, nurseries, that sort of thing. But all the things you think about that have opened are predominantly where you're outside.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good. Yeah.
Except for the essential things like, you know, shopping and chemists. Obviously, that's all been going along all the time. So we're allowed to get out and about a little bit. But we can only meet with, obviously, our own household we're fine with, but we can only meet with a maximum of 6 people in a little bubble, if you know what I mean. So you can meet, depends on how many people are in your household, but one household can meet another household to a maximum of 6 people, as long as it's outside, and with this 2-meter social distancing, which we've got to keep going, even though we're outside. Same thing.
Okay, so schools are still closed at the moment?
No, schools have started to open from today, but not all schools. So schools have still been open for key workers. So if you're, you know, an essential worker, the schools have still been open. Private nurseries have mostly opened today.
Okay.
Schools have opened, primary schools for reception year 1 and year 6. So beginning of the little babies, the little ones, and then year 6, which is the year before they go to high school. But not all schools and not all at the same time. And not for the whole day. So very little steps. Some schools are ready for that reopening, some aren't, but there's a gradual move now to getting children back to school, because it's difficult getting parents, as you can imagine, back to work, if you haven't got the childcare and your children aren't back at school. So it's little steps, and it's very regional. So some schools are ready, some are up for it, and others aren't, depending on the council and the area.
And the next question, could you please describe how the virus affects your daily life concerning home office or work? Or
Yeah, well, I'm working from home. I've had to learn lots of skills. I Zoom, you know, for an old girl like me. I blog, I tweet, I do Facebook. I'm learning now because my role is a trainer, so I've got to look at how am I going to be able to deliver my training. It's going to be a long time before we'll be able to get into the old way of doing it, you know, in a classroom or in a meeting room now, face to face. So looking at putting training on a more sort of virtual platform. That's what I'm working on now. So working from home has been a joy. No traffic in the morning. We've had exceptionally good weather for England, and you know all about that, Maria, how bad the weather can be here. It's been glorious. We've almost had 2 months of sunshine. So in one way, if you have a garden, well, life is pretty good in that sense. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I did like the British weather, to be honest.
Well, it's almost been too good to be true. Honestly, it's been absolutely glorious. We've been so lucky with it. Lovely.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. Been very nice. Very nice.
How would you describe the general mood in Birmingham right now?
I think it's split. I think there's a lot of people that are just getting on with it. Yeah, are just thinking, right, okay, we listen to all the advice. Perhaps some people are pushing that a little bit, the advice, but on the whole, I think people are keeping to it, but quite positive, realise we need to get going. There's a lot of people too that are very nervous about the whole thing. Perhaps they're vulnerable themselves or live with people that have had, more vulnerable because of their health conditions. So they tend to be more nervous. Some people are very nervous about the children going to school. So for every person who says, yeah, kids back to school, great, there's another group of people saying too early, we might have another peak. So it's a really mixed kind of feeling depending on who you talk to. But I think on the whole, if you sort of added them all up together, I think it's quite a positive thing. I think most people think we need to start moving now. We can't stay shut up forever. We can't. I understand some people still need to be shielded because of their health conditions or their age, but we can't be like this forever. We can't. So we're hoping these little steps now will mean we can start taking bigger steps in another few weeks or months. That's the plan.
Yeah, that sounds good. Good. So,
let's hope so.
Question? Sorry?
That we hope so. We hope that's the case.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly.
So, one last question: were people hoarding groceries or other products in Great Britain?
Oh goodness, absolutely. We're all told don't hoard, don't. And what does everybody go and do? Just goes out and does it. So initially, toilet rolls, anything to clean. You couldn't buy anything to clean. I've never known it. No one's ever had a clean house, I'm sure, like they have now. So all the sprays and hand washes and sanitizer, all that kind of stuff was impossible to get to start with. But that's fine. We eventually, that sorted it out. I think that, in all fairness to the supermarkets, I think they did a fantastic job trying to get this stuff into the shops as quickly as possible. I think the one thing that surprised us, we couldn't get flour.
Oh, yes.
We couldn't get flour for weeks. I couldn't buy any flour for weeks. I think the whole world went mad, or the whole world, but the whole of the UK went mad and started baking. Everybody wanted to bake cakes and make things and whatever, with all this time at home, I don't know, or making Play-Doh for kids or whatever it was they were doing with flour. But we couldn't buy that. So that was a bit of a nuisance for a couple of weeks. But that's all really. I don't think now there's any real shortage of anything. I don't think we have quite the amount of choice that we used to have in terms of the fresh produce. Yeah, meat fine, fish, but the fruit and veg, I think, is a little bit more hit and mix. You can't go into a supermarket and have anything you want. You're going to have to compromise a little bit. But I mean, hey, it's not the end of the world. If you can't eat one thing, you can eat another. There's certainly plenty of food. There's no issues with that, which is good.
That's good. Yeah. So everything a bit more back to normal now.
Yeah, I think so. We just hope now that we can just keep moving forward with the little steps. I would imagine the same thing where you are in Germany, Marie. You just want to keep going now. You don't want to have this second peak, do you? We don't want to be, having to be shut down again before we've really started, enjoying a bit more freedom and the economy starting to move a little bit more. So let's hope so.
That's true. So thank you very much. That was the last question.
You're welcome. It's been nice to see you.
It was nice to see you too. And have a nice afternoon.
Lovely. Thank you, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.